Welcome to the AA podcast. We are back. This is brought to you by the Rondo Media Group. The season is over, but you know what's happening this Friday? The Euros is kicking off. So of course, we are coming with a Euros special show. We're going to be walking through our favourites, our dark horses, our disappointments, player of the tournament, golden boot, all of it. Brought to you by AA and the Rondo Media Group. And because this is a special show, as the Euros is kicking off, Marcus is coming from behind the camera to join me to walk through the different categories. Little appearance today. How does it feel to be back in front of the camera?
Yeah, it's not too bad. I can't complain. Give them some real football knowledge.
Yeah, sure, man. All right. Without further ado, how are you feeling about the Euros coming up, Marcus? Before we run through our categories, you excited for it?
No, actually.
Okay.
The previous Euros, the Euros 2020, obviously took place in 21. I was excited for that. Obviously, because after COVID, the Euros before that, I've been excited. But this Euros, I don't know. I don't really see the hype around it as much. I know that as a man living in the UK, this is the best team we probably had in God knows how long. But I don't have any hope for us long term, so it's not filling me with too much excitement. I don't feel like the level of international teams are too high right now.
Okay.
So yeah. But football's football, and it's always going to entertain. Interesting.
Listen, I'm pretty excited for it. I'm always excited for summer football. It's always like a long wait from the end of the season all the way to the start of the Premier League. I hate the wait. You think about, because I'm used to social media now because I love sports social media. So I can't help but scroll on there, and I have to endure lots of rubbish when I want to be looking at the latest in football. So I'm happy for it. I mean, I think the World Cup there's always more hype around the World Cup for me than the Euros, but I think it's going to be a good Euros. We've got a really strong team. I think we'll go far. I don't think we'll win it. We'll come back later to that, but I think it will be good to just see a couple of real European titans clash, and I think we're going to see some real good football. There's a couple of players that I'm really interested in seeing. I think there's a couple of important arcs attached to this Euros, but I feel like we've done the little intro part. Let's run through our categories. So the first kind of subsection of our categories are all focused on teams, so nations. Let me just unlock my phone. So the first one is favorites. Who are your favourites? Marcus, can you tell me? Who's your favourite? Who's going to win the Euros?
So I feel like this, compared to most other Euros, I feel like there's clear favourites.
Okay.
That is France. They have the strongest.
A lot of people say England.
No.
Okay.
That's English media and English people being deluded about the strength of our own team. Okay. Yes, we have a good team. It's nowhere near to the capability of French's team. Yeah. So I believe France are clear favourites. If they do not win it this time around, it's a massive indictment on both Deschamps and on all of the players. They have stellar players such as Kylian Mbappe, Saliba, Konate, Camavinga, Tchouaméni. They've even brought Kante back. They have so much going forward, so many attackers going forward. They even left the likes of Elise behind. Like, that's how strong, how powerful, and how much depth they have in that squad. Also, they've been playing together for years. A lot of these players have been playing together for at least 4 to 6 years. They do have experience in that team, the likes of Griezmann, who does turn up on the big occasions as well.
Yeah, he does tend to, yeah.
And they have a manager who knows how to win international football games. Whilst people do compare him to Gareth Southgate, he doesn't have the... Gareth Southgate doesn't have the small little tactical tweaks that the Deschamps is able to do. Yes, they do play a similar sort of brand of football, but when it comes to tactics and winning games, Deschamps has shown that he can do that. Okay. And they have players like Kylian Mbappe, we saw at the World Cup. In the moments of need, they can just turn it on and change the course of the game for themselves. So I believe without a doubt that France should and will win the Euros.
I feel like one thing that you said, which was interesting there, that you have to come in on, is the fact that you said that you feel like France are the clear favourites here. I'm sorry, Marcus is a bit unwell, so there's going to be a lot of coughing. But yeah, for me, a lot of people would disagree with that, particularly English media. Some people like the likes of Paul Merson have come out and said that he only feels like 2 French players get into the English side.
That is insane.
Oh, that's insane to you. So do you feel like France's quality is what's the difference between France's and England's quality? Is basically the question I'm asking.
Only 3 English players will make it to a French side. 3 or 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Only 3?
Yeah. So I would go right back,
Yeah.
right wing,
Yeah. So Saka.
striker.
Okay.
And then maybe Bellingham.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Depends on what system you're playing. Maybe Bellingham.
Fair. So you're basically saying you feel like France have a lot more quality than England.
Not only did they have more quality in the first 11, the depth that they have is so much more superior to us as well.
Oh, okay.
And they have more team chemistry. They just have a better team. I don't see how
team chemistry, definitely. Yeah.
I don't see how someone can look at both teams, look at the history of both teams. When I say history, I mean recent history of both the players and the actual team as a whole, and say that England have a chance against them.
Fair play. I'll do my favourites as well. I think Marcus went into the analysis really quite well, so I'm not gonna really do that again. But for me, it is also France. I just feel like their level of experience, their level of quality. I think Mbappe is gonna have a very good tournament, and I think they for me are the clear favourites to win it, and I'll be surprised if they don't. Obviously, it's tournament football, so anything can always happen. But I just feel like they are the favourites, and I feel like this belief that the favourites has just shifted to England. I think England are after them. I'll definitely say they're my second favourites, but I feel like a lot of English media think that, it's kind of almost in England's hands right now, and I feel like that's just
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just a bit ridiculous. I think it's definitely France. Are England even my second favourites? They're my second. They have the second best team.
I don't know about that either.
Who's got a better team than
I feel
England?
like England and Portugal are equal.
No, England have better players than Portugal.
I don't know, man.
They have better players than Portugal. England are stacked, bro. England might have a better squad than France. I don't think they've got a better 11 though.
That's cap.
I don't think they've got a better 11.
We're not going to go back and forth for this.
I think they might have. I think their squad is stacked, bro. Squad is stacked. But anyway, cool. Moving forward, who is your dark horse?
So dark horse, I'm going to go with the Netherlands. We saw Netherlands at the last international tournament, which was the World Cup, and they were actually quite good. Obviously, they came undone against the eventual winners, Argentina, in what was a spectacular game.
Yeah.
Full of ferocity, like players going at each other, so much passion in that team. But if you look at the Dutch squad,
do you want it? Just searched up.
If you look at the Dutch squad, they're stacked defensively. So obviously, we you know about the main guys like Van Dijk, Ake. What other defenders did they have? They have De Ligt as well. But then if you realise that they play the 3-4-3 system, so that's utilising wing backs. They have the likes of Maatsen, Denzel Dumfries, Frimpong, who's been amazing for Bayer Leverkusen this season. And then if you look at it going forward, obviously we have the likes of De Jong, who's a class footballer. He can play any position in midfield. And in that 3-4-3, he's going to take the centre role, maybe with the likes of Gravenberch. I'm not the biggest fan of Gravenberch, but he can do a job there. They still have the experience of Ronaldo if they wanted to play them. And up front, I wouldn't say they're that strong up front, but with the way they play, they're very defensive, solid defensively, sorry. And in international tournaments, we've realised in the last couple of years that's the best way to go about winning these tournaments.
Yeah.
And they are able to get goals. They still have the likes of Daniel Marlon. They have of course Memphis Depay. He might not be a world-class player, but he's a very good attacker and he can create chances and score goals himself. So I feel like if we need to actually watch out for Netherlands, I feel like slowly but surely they'll make their way out of the groups, and then they could possibly see themselves in the final. And if you're in the final, who knows? Honestly.
Yeah. Nice. No, I think that's.
And I just want to mention one amazing baller that they have. I don't know if a lot of you have heard of it, but his name's Xavi Simons.
Okay.
He's
fairs.
He's a PSG. He's his own player right now. He spent his last season at Leipzig, but he's absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Great pass.
You think he's one to watch for you?
100%. He's one to watch. He's very young, so the bright lights and the grandness of the Euros might get the better of him. But I'm hoping that he can perform despite that.
You think him in that 3-4-3 in one of those two kind of cam positions, he could be nice though. So for you, do you think Netherlands can win it?
Yeah, they can win it.
I
don't think they're favourites by any means, but if teams don't watch out for them, they're gonna get undone by them.
And key performers for you are Van Dijk, De Ligt, Xavi. I saw like the passion come out when you went through those three players. So you think they could be quite pivotal?
Of course, Van Dijk, world-class defender. Xavi Simons, he's one of the up-and-coming prospects in international football.
Okay.
And then the wing backs is probably the the key area that they have. They're so stacked at wing backs.
When you break it down the way you go through, like I can't lie. I mean, I feel like our viewers will agree. It's a pretty strong squad, which is quite resolute in a lot of areas. And that 3-4-3 is looking serious with the quality of wing backs that they have as well.
I don't think prior to the last tournament, Holland had a good team for quite a long time.
Yeah, they haven't.
Probably been since about 2010, 2012 at times. So it's good to see them getting back into
it. And like Holland, they're quite like, when Holland are popping, they're quite a good nation to have on the scene. They've got a lot of good footballing history. So yeah, no, nice one. For me, I've kind of got two, so I'll go through both of them. So my first one is Germany. The reason why I'm going for a second is because Germany are hosting it, and they are a big nation who have been very successful in European and world football. So I don't feel like it's the craziest dark horse, but I do feel like they should be mentioned because they're just not a name that I'm hearing when people are talking about favourites for the Euros. I hear England, I hear France, I hear Portugal. I don't hear much outside those three. I think those are the three that most people are saying are really up there and they expect. But when you look at Germany, they're not too bad of a side. There is some quality there. I still feel like, okay, this is definitely not the Germany that we've seen in previous years. They're nothing like the 2010 squad. But when you think about the season that Wirtz has had, you think about Musiala emerging as a talent for Bayern Munich. Havertz, he seems to have a bit of a resurgence at Arsenal. He looks more confident. Has always played pretty well for Germany as well. And in other positions, they're Germany, right? They're not weak, but they're just not the best. But I think when you've got your nation's kind of belief behind you and you've got solid players, which Germany definitely have, you know, like you look at them in midfield, for instance, in an area where they think they're weak. Who plays for them there, is it? Who plays the pivot for Germany?
Right now they have...
You should have got the squad up.
For Germany, it depends. They might play Kimmich right back. They sometimes do play him in the centre.
Play Kimmich right back often. They've got what's his name? The big youth for Bayern, just runs around a lot. He's a player. Yeah, Goretzka.
I don't think Goretzka's that good, but yeah.
No, but he's like, that's what I'm talking about. So for instance, I'm just getting the lineup, guys. So we've got Goretzka, Kroos, and Gundogan. And people talk about their midfield like it's not crazy. Like,
a bit older.
Kroos and Gundogan are getting on, but they still got a lot of quality. Goretzka can still do a job around them. Their back four, they've still got Rudiger in there.
Solid defender.
And they've got Kimmich. Okay, the left two, they've got Tar and I don't even know who.
Tar's been phenomenal this season
left
for like Leverkusen though.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. So it's a pretty solid squad. So I feel like they're not realising that, you know, Germany definitely have, they can definitely be a bit of a dark horse. My second is Italy. Now listen, I'm not even going to try and go through the Italy players and pretend to you like I know them. When you look at Italy and you look at their starting 11, you see a load of NPCs. But when I think about the fact that they've got Spalletti as a manager, very solid manager, obviously won the league with Napoli. You think about Italy's style, they often play that 3-4-3. Listen, Italy have a clear system and way of football for their nation, and have always within Italian football had that clear style of play, and that style of play very much suits international football. It's pragmatic, it gets results. I feel like that's the way Italy will play. I feel like they'll be tough to beat, and because they'll do that, even though they do have a bunch of NPCs on the pitch, I think they could be a dark horse. I feel like they could, you know, get far in the competition. I don't think they've got enough quality to win it, but I think they're a dark horse to definitely go far in the competition and maybe do something, just because of the nature of their style of play and the discipline that they have as a nation and in terms of their philosophy. So I do think that Italy are another one who may surprise. They often do. Nobody thought they were going to win the Euros last time, so I feel like it's a fair one to definitely say. Let's move on swiftly as we want it to still be a punchy 40-minute show. Cool. Disappointments. I think we both have the same. We discussed it briefly earlier.
Player-wise or?
As a team, so as a nation. Mine's England. Who's yours?
I was going to go for England as well.
Let's just talk about it since we both have the same, so I don't think we need to go on two kind of separate points here.
My thought about it is because when you look at the word disappointment, it's because England have a lot of expectation on them. As you said previously, it's the media, Paul
They
Merson.
do too much.
A lot of people are just saying that England should be winning this. England have the best team.
I'm telling you, that Paul Merson video of him saying only 2 players get into France, it's going to haunt this whole nation.
Yeah,
We're going to pay for that, you know.
So England might have a run. They might get to the semis. Sorry. But I don't see them winning the tournament. So, and anything less than winning the tournament for England this time around, it's going to be.
It's going to be disappointment, yeah, because I think they've got to that. Listen, I think this. If Southgate doesn't win it, I think this will be his last tournament. He's even kind of given, sort of little hints that it's likely to be. I think he's getting a bit tired. I feel like he feels as well if he doesn't win it, the team probably needs to move on from him. I think a lot of the players are in their prime now. It's a very strong squad, and I do think if we don't win it, it's just going to be like we came up short. And I actually feel like England are going to go out in the semis. I just have a feeling that they're going to go out in the semis. Yeah. I don't think before the semis, I can only see a team with the level of France knocking them out. I think we just have a certain level of quality and perseverance. Maybe a Portugal, but I just don't see us going out. But I feel like in that semis, unless we play, we have a very nice draw, I just feel like England are going to go out. I feel like they're going to probably meet France in the semis, I have a feeling. Maybe France or Portugal, and I feel like they're going to go out.
The occasion might get to them as well.
Yeah, I think the occasion could. I feel like Germany, even in the semis, I don't know if they could deal with them either. I just have a feeling that, the occasion might get to them. England, we don't really tend to gel as a team, even when we have a lot of quality. And I feel that I have that same feeling with this side again, even though I always argue the England team of 2004 and like around that time, 2006, I always argue that yes, they were a stacked team, but you have to look at the nations around. They were very stacked.
Yeah.
Contrasting that now, I actually feel like not a lot of nations are that strong. So England are really quite up there. But I think in the same way that we didn't really gel as well back then, I don't think we do now either. I have seen glimpses in qualifiers, but England don't really, I don't know, they don't give me that confidence that they're a team that can really blow other nations away, and they just have this real quality. And
we saw what happened this weekend against Iceland.
Yeah, it was bad, bro. It wasn't a great performance. I know it's, it's a qualifier. I know it's not a qualifier. I know it's just a friendly. I know it's Iceland, but
the match before the tournament.
The attacking just looked a bit clunky. The way they were catching us on the break, I'm quite worried about England's defence. I think that's a key point as well. I feel like Stones is just, a walking injury. Not having Maguire is a huge miss. I look at the centre backs coming in, the likes of Konsa, Guehi, even Gomez at times. I love him as a Liverpool fan, but he can have drops up and down. I don't know if those guys are keeping up with the occasion, if they're having key parts.
I don't think they have enough international experience.
Did you watch Guehi versus Iceland? He was on skates a little bit. He wasn't playing too well. I think about the players that he might have to come against. It's looking tight.
I hear you.
It's looking tight. No left back really. I think Shaw's another one. Is Shaw going to be fit?
I think not picking Maguire. He's been great for England every time he's been picked. Like I know we've.
I think it's injuries, bro.
But there was a chance that he could make it.
Yeah, he did risk Shaw. He risked it with Shaw, so it's like should he have done it with Maguire as well?
Because I know we've called Maguire for so many years on his form at Manchester United and his clunkiness, his lackadaisical approach to the game and his ability, full stop. But every time he's played for England, he's been great for us. And I think the last Euros, he was injured for the first 2 games of the tournament. As soon as he came back in, and he was great for us as well.
He plays well for England, man.
So even if he did have a slight injury, he missed the first 2 games, but we need him eventually.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So I think we're agreed on disappointments. Let's move forward. Players. So on to players now. So player of the tournament. I feel like you have quite an interesting one. You wanna start?
So mine's very dependent on the system and the formation, or not formation, where the Champs chooses to play this player. But mine is Eduardo Camavinga. So obviously for France a lot, he has been deployed as a left back because they don't have apart from Theo Hernandez, they don't really have a lot of left backs. But if Theo Hernandez is to start and everyone else is to be fit, then Camavinga in the centre of the field, we saw it in the Champions League final, he's amazing. Anything you want him to do, he can do.
He's so good. He's got a lot of facets to his game.
He can dictate play, he can dictate the show, and I feel like for France in this tournament, they need someone who can do that. Even for his age, he plays like he has a lot of experience behind him. So I feel like if he's deployed in that centre of midfield and he plays most of the games in this tournament, we will see him as the revelation of this tournament, and he will be player of the tournament.
I think in international football, having a tempo setter is so important, and I feel like they have huge influences on the game because the game is like you can't get your tactics as a high level. That doesn't really. In international football, your tactics can't be as high of a level as club football.
Yeah.
So I feel like controllers and tempo setters, if you will, they have a huge influence on the game. They're really able to influence the game a lot more than they would be in club football. So
in the last tournament, people were praising the likes of Jorginho and Verratti for their performances.
Exactly. You think about the World Cup, you think about what Enzo did there.
Exactly.
Always controllers have a huge influence over games, and I feel like Camavinga, I didn't actually know that he has that level of ability to really control the game till I watched that Champions League final, to be honest. I know he had elements of it, of course, from seeing him, but that was really like, biggest stage, real culture performance. I feel like in that Champions League final, he was playing with Kroos in midfield.
Yeah.
And he was the one running the midfield. Yeah. And that's no easy feat. So, I definitely agree with you as he could be a potential player of the tournament if Deschamps moves correct and plays him in midfield. But knowing Deschamps, he could play Rabiot midfield and play our guy left back. Bro, I'm dead serious. He could play Rabiot midfield in 2024 and play Camavinga at left back. He's a weird guy, but he manages to get results. But I feel like there's no need to do it. Like France can have a little bit more control against. And I feel like when France were at their best, they still sat back and played quite pragmatic, but they had Pogba kind of dictating play from deep, and that was key to their ability to kind of just control games, not over the 90, but like in little periods, and then just kind of walk over you. So yeah, I feel like that's a good one, bro. For me, it's Kylian Mbappe. I was gonna go and try and go for someone which was a little bit more, maybe more daring, more interesting. Out of the box or whatever, but come on, man. I feel like Mbappe's going to go off, and I feel like there's quite a lot of pressure on him to do so because he hasn't had the best club season. A lot of people feel like him going to Madrid is a bit of a cop-out. Madrid already have two, players that they believe are Ballon d'Or level in Vinicius and Bellingham, so it's like, you need to almost show us that you can still raise a team's level and you can be their star, which I feel like is ridiculous because I feel like Mbappe's done it. And I personally don't see a major problem with him going to Madrid. But I think Mbappe's going to go off this tournament. I just feel like, everything, like you've got everything that's been, he left PSG, the biggest club in the nation that he's from, for free and went to Madrid. Like, I just feel over the season, the amount of PR and negative PR that is, and just things around him, it's very hard to be a consistent performer. Also, he was playing kind of up top a lot as well, which I don't think suits the type of player he is now. For France, he's going to be playing on that left wing the whole time. I think he's going to go off, man. I think he's going to go off. I think he's going to have a great tournament. I think he will be the player of the tournament. We're going to see goals, we're going to see assists, we're going to see dribbling. We're going to see Mbappe looking at his very best. So yeah, I do think he is my player of the tournament. Cool. Moving across to one to watch.
Why don't you start off with this one?
Yeah, happy to start off with this one. So funny enough, my one to watch is a player that you mentioned before, and it's when you were just kind of describing him as a player. Mine's Xavi Simons. I just think listen, if you watch Xavi Simons for Leipzig, you'll see that this guy's a real player. When I'm talking, he glides past players. Yeah. He can go left, he can go right, he can play make. Like, as a cam, he's a very, very pure cam. Honestly, when I watch Xavi Simons, he reminds me of them old school baller cams that kind of have everything in the advanced third in terms of midfielding. So for me, I just think Netherlands are going to have a really good tournament, and I think he's going to go off. So I think he's definitely one to watch. I think because the Bundesliga is not, people don't watch it as much as La Liga and the Prem, and it's not like Leipzig have a huge amount of PR. I think a lot of people are going to realise that Xavi Simons is very serious this tournament, and I cannot wait for it. I cannot wait. I think he's definitely going to be one to watch.
Yeah, I'm 100% in agreement with you. And whilst having all that 10 ability that he does have, he's also very athletically capable as well.
Yeah, he's a good athlete.
Which suits modern day football. But what I'm going to go for, I feel like both of us are going for like younger players. I have two in mind.
Naturally.
I have Lamine Yamal.
Okay, nice.
Phenomenal for the season for Barcelona. 16 or 17 years
Bro,
old. And he's playing well past his age, taking on players, dictating games by himself.
I can't wait to watch him. I can't wait.
And I know the Spain team is not very good. I'd say the kind of decline of the last
10 years.
10 years pretty much. But I still see them. They make it out of the group stage. They might make it to a quarter or semi-final, and we'll see some good performances from him that make us go, this is a real player. Another player I'd like to highlight is Vitinha from Portugal.
Oh yeah. No, I like Vitinha, bro.
Plays for PSG. He's a sensational midfielder. Very young as well. I believe he's 21, around 2021 age. Very good. Very good on the ball. Very good at passing.
I think he's very complete.
Yeah, and he's very good in duels and in combat. He's a phenomenal midfielder. I feel like he's gonna be one of the key players for Portugal, who I believe have the second or third best team at the tournament. So player that young, being able to shine around more experienced vets is really going to stand out.
I hope he gets like a little bit more of a free role, because he's quite good in duels and he's quite good at actually like playmaking from deep. He's played in a bit of a deeper role.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed, even like with PSG in the Champions League, when he's played a deeper role, he's good, but he's not able to influence the game as much as his capability allows him, because he's actually quite good physically as well. Yeah. And when they've released him, he's had a huge influence. You think about the game against Barcelona, he was fantastic. I think it was it the home leg or the away leg?
The second leg or something.
It was the second leg, I can't remember, but guys, Vitinha cooked. If you're watching your football, you remember that leg. And you don't know that he cooked, so I think that's a real good shout. Just as you mentioned the Portugal team, I thought of another one. I thought Bruno Fernandes. I think he's performed really well in kind of like qualifiers for Portugal. He's had a good season for Man United, but because Man United have been so poor, not a lot has been said about it. Bruno Fernandes is a player that still has a lot of quality, and I think for Portugal, I don't think Ronaldo's going to have too loud of a tournament. I think he's going to play more of a rotational role. I think Portugal are going to look for a leader, a star, to drive them to potentially winning the tournaments. As I said, I feel like they're definitely a favourite as well. And I think Bruno Fernandes, I feel like he might go off. So I think he's one to watch as well, because I just feel like, because United have been so poor, he's not a player that has a crazy amount of PR around him. And he's got the ability in international football to really stand out, because he's got that je ne sais quoi in the final third. He has excellent final third passing. He's got a real shot on him. So he's the type of player that really does suit international football. So I feel like Fernandes is one to watch as well. He could go off. Cool. I think we're moving towards the end.
Top scorer.
Top scorer. Mine's Kane.
For top scorer, I'm probably going to go Kylian. Either Kylian Mbappe or, weirdly enough, Kai Havertz.
Kai Havertz?
Yeah.
Alright, talk about that one, my bro.
So, if you've heard me talk about Kai Havertz before, I don't believe he's the best player. I actually do think there's a good player there. I think he's been good for a while. People just haven't seen the little signs I've seen from him at Chelsea and at Arsenal. But the reason I think that he'll be so good is because recently, in the international friendlies and also in the qualifiers for the tournament, there was a brief period he played at left back. Forget that. Whilst he's been played up top, he has been very good for Germany. He scores most of their goals. And the majority of goals Germany have scored in the last 3 games have been scored by Kai Havertz. I think he scored 5 in his last, 6. And I see him being their focal point in the tournament. Germany might not win the tournament, might only get to the semi-finals, but Kai Havertz probably is going to take penalties for them and is going to be their focal point and score most of their goals, because they don't really have goals from elsewhere in the team.
Okay.
Whereas I think other teams have goals across the team. And then obviously Kylian Mbappe, my second one, is Kylian Mbappe. So who knows, he can turn up for a game and score 4 goals from no reason.
Yep, he could easily, yeah. So fair enough. Okay, fair. I've gone for Kane just because I think Kane's actually going to have a better tournament than he's had in a while. I feel like Jude Bellingham's going to be a big part of that. They seem to have a good partnership. Somehow, like the best that Kane for England normally doesn't impress me that much, I'm not going to lie, but the best I've seen him play in the past year or so has been when Jude has been cooking. I think it was that one international break where we played against Italy where Bellingham just went off. But Kane was really good in that international break as well. So I just feel like his dynamism coupled with, Kane's just kind of ball intelligence and technical security, I think there'll be a good little partnership, and Bellingham will definitely play in the 8 position or potentially even in the 10. So I just feel like they're going to have a good partnership. It's going to cause Kane to get quite a few goals, and I think Kane's going to get a fair amount of penalties as well. So I think he's just going to, I think Kane's probably just going to be the golden boot because he's going to be a bit better and he's going to get his penalties as well, which he always knows to put away. So
Panama in the World Cup, we all remember that.
Oh yeah, he scored like. That was like one of the worst hat tricks ever, wasn't it? Yeah, like a penalty and like.
And he won the goal.
2 deflected goals. Yeah, I think he's gonna probably get it again. So. But yeah, guys, that kind of rounds off all of the different categories that we wanted to run through. While the Euros is going along, we're gonna have little watch-alongs. We're gonna, have more. I don't know. We're still discussing. I don't know if we're gonna do like formal AA podcasts or almost like AA and cast members reactions and stuff. Not, or maybe just straight random reactions. But we have content coming. Look at our IG. We'll release what we're going to be doing out there. And we can't wait to enjoy the Euros with you. That's your boy AA and Marcus. And goodbye from the Rondo group. Like, subscribe, follow. Get us to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, please. And thank you.
And pray for me to get better.
Yeah, and that as well. I've got a bit of hay fever as well, so pray for that too. Everybody's feeling a bit unwell.